Welcome back, legendary collectors, curious treasure hunters, and everyone who believes that history can hide inside the smallest objects. You are watching Rare Coin Legacy, the channel where overlooked pocket change becomes jaw-dropping fortune, and where today we explore one of the most unbelievable modern numismatic mysteries ever imagined, the astonishing claim that a single 2012 D1 cent could command a mind-blowing value of $14 million due to a perfect storm of errors, mistakes, and impossible minting anomalies that turned a coin meant to be ignored into one of the most potentially valuable pennies in existence. Because at first glance a 2012 D Lincoln cent looks utterly ordinary, mass-produced, modern, and forgettable, struck in the billions at the Denver Mint during a time when pennies were already considered more nuisance than necessity. Yet hidden beneath that ordinary appearance lies the possibility of extraordinary failure, because value in the world of rare coins is not born from intention but from deviation, not from perfection but from mistakes, and the year 2012 was a period when the United States Mint was under immense operational pressure, producing enormous quantities of coins at high speed using increasingly automated systems while also experimenting with materials, dyes, and efficiency improvements, and whenever speed, volume, and experimentation intersect, the door opens for errors so severe they should never escape into circulation. And when they do, they become legendary, and the 2012 D1 cent sits at the center of that possibility, because the Denver Mint is known for producing fewer dramatic errors than some facilities due to strict controls, which paradoxically makes any confirmed extreme error from Denver exponentially more valuable, since rarity within rarity is what collectors chase with almost obsessive intensity. And one of the most powerful possibilities behind a $14 million valuation lies in the concept of a wrong planchet error, where a 2012 D cent could be struck on a planchet never intended for it, such as a foreign coin blank, an experimental alloy, or even a planchet meant for a completely different denomination like a dime, nickel, or dollar. And while such errors are extraordinarily rare in the modern era, they are not impossible, and when they occur they represent a catastrophic breakdown of mint protocol, because modern minting facilities are designed specifically to prevent this exact scenario, meaning any example that survives would be instantly classified as a mint failure of the highest order, and if a 2012 D cent were found struck on a solid copper planchet of incorrect weight, thickness, and composition, contradicting official specifications, it would raise immediate red flags and ignite intense scrutiny from top grading services and metallurgical experts. And once authenticated, its value would skyrocket, because modern wrong planchet errors are among the most coveted and aggressively pursued objects in numismatics, especially when the error is dramatic enough to be identified instantly without magnification. And then there is the possibility of a mule error, one of the rarest and most shocking mistakes any mint can produce, where two mismatched dies from different coins are paired together accidentally, creating a hybrid coin that was never meant to exist. And while mule errors are incredibly scarce in modern times, history has proven they can happen even in highly controlled environments, and a 2012 D cent mule, especially one pairing the Lincoln cent obverse with an unrelated reverse such as a Roosevelt dime, Jefferson nickel, or even a presidential dollar, would be considered a numismatic miracle, because such a coin would not only be unique but historically disruptive, forcing experts to rewrite assumptions about mint safeguards in the 21st century, and uniqueness is the most powerful driver of value in the rare coin world, because when a coin is truly one of one, there is no price ceiling, only the limits of how much someone is willing to pay to own something no one else ever can, and wealthy collectors do not compete on affordability, they compete on exclusivity, and that is how valuations leap from thousands to millions almost overnight. And another critical possibility lies in extreme double die errors, not the minor machine doubling seen on countless modern coins, but true hub double dies created during the die manufacturing process, where the design is impressed multiple times at misaligned angles, producing bold, fully separated doubling across letters, numbers, and portraits. And a 2012 D cent with a dramatic double die affecting Lincoln's face, the date, and inscriptions would immediately stand out as one of the most visually striking modern error coins ever discovered, because collectors crave errors they can see, touch, and instantly recognize, and the more obvious and shocking the error, the broader the appeal, extending beyond traditional numismatists to investors, museums, and even pop culture collectors, all of whom add fuel to bidding wars that push prices into the stratosphere. And then there are off-metal strikes, where a coin is struck on metal intended for experimental testing or industrial use rather than legal tender, and while such strikes are extraordinarily rare, they are not unheard of, and if a 2012 D cent were discovered struck on a metal never approved for circulation, confirmed through advanced spectroscopy and metallurgical analysis, it would represent not just a mint error but a leak from internal testing processes, a coin that escaped from behind the scenes of mint operations, and that kind of story adds immense narrative value, because collectors do not just buy metal, they buy stories, and the more secretive and forbidden the story, the more valuable the artifact becomes, and narrative value is often what pushes a rare coin beyond hobby pricing into cultural artifact territory, where museums, private foundations, and ultra-high net worth individuals compete for ownership, and another layer of potential value comes from die clashes, brockages, and capped dies, where coins become trapped during striking, creating ghost-like mirrored impressions, distortions, and surreal textures that capture the moment of mechanical failure in metal. And while many such errors exist, a full design, high relief, pristine condition example from 2012 D would be exceptionally rare, because modern era coins are usually caught and destroyed quickly due to improved detection systems, meaning any that survive are statistical anomalies, and statistical anomalies are what collectors dream about, and condition amplifies everything, because an error coin that survives in mint state condition with full luster, no circulation wear, and sharp detail multiplies in value compared to a worn example, sometimes by factors of 10 or more. And when you combine extreme error with flawless preservation, the result is a coin that exists at the absolute peak of desirability, and authentication is the gateway that transforms possibility into reality, because once a coin is examined, graded, and certified by multiple respected authorities, its legitimacy becomes unquestionable, and unquestionable legitimacy is what attracts serious money, because high-end collectors and investors will not gamble millions on uncertainty, they demand absolute proof, and once that proof exists, the market responds with ferocity, and then there is the psychological weight of the date itself, because 2012 carries symbolic significance as a year associated with global change, technological acceleration, and cultural fascination, making coins from that year more emotionally charged than those from more mundane periods. And emotional resonance matters deeply in collecting, because people pay premiums for objects that feel meaningful, and meaning adds value beyond logic. And another crucial factor is publicity, because the moment a coin like this is discovered, authenticated, and publicized, it stops being just a coin and becomes a phenomenon, covered by news outlets, shared across social media, discussed in documentaries, and debated by experts, and public awareness transforms niche collectibles into mainstream icons, dramatically expanding the pool of potential buyers, and when demand expands faster than supply, prices explode, and in the case of a unique or near-unique 2012 D cent error, supply is fixed at one or a handful, meaning demand has nowhere to go but upward, and provenance further amplifies value, because a coin discovered in circulation, pulled from a roll, a pocket, or a forgotten jar, carries a romantic appeal that resonates deeply with the public, reinforcing the idea that life-changing fortune can hide in plain sight, and that narrative drives speculative interest, media attention, and investor enthusiasm. All of which inflate valuations beyond traditional appraisal models, and then there is the role of elite collectors, because the top tier of the market is not governed by price guides, it is governed by ego, legacy, and competition, and when multiple wealthy individuals want the same singular object, price becomes irrelevant, and bidding becomes a statement, and statements are often made with 8-figure checks. And this is how a 2012 D1 cent, under the right conditions, with the right error, the right authentication, the right condition, and the right exposure, could plausibly reach a valuation of $14 million, because the market does not reward what is common, it rewards what should not exist, and the more impossible a coin's existence appears, the more valuable it becomes, and that is why you should never dismiss modern coins, never assume age equals value, and never underestimate the power of a tiny mistake to create monumental wealth, because somewhere right now, a 2012 D1 cent could be waiting to be discovered.